Welcome back to another episode of DoJRP, but this one's special. This is DoJRP Life. That's right. We are getting down and dirty in the live server. Finally. I'm getting a couple of things squared away with my character and their outfits. Let me see here. Update outfit. That goes to that one. Change outfit, that one. And then we're going to go here. How is everyone doing on this fine Saturday evening? I hope you're all good. Hi, that is it. Okay. Do that, yes. Do that. Update clothing, that one. All right. We are live to you. Maybe not. There we go. All right, Miss Emma. We are playing as Miss Emma Bliss. This is Mama Blue's daughter. I have her over in the live server. She is a state prosecutor for San Andreas. So we have our first big court case tonight. So I'm looking at, so I'm thinking about actually changing my outfit over to the suit and dress. Yeah? Y'all like that one? I think I'm going to run this one. All right, get our code here. So I wonder. What is this bag under? I forget what. Oh, is it shirt? Nope. Not body armor. What was this under? Change those to zeros anyways. Not that. 4. Bags and parachutes. Okay. Get her walking style back. I can't take off the bag. So I'll run in here and okay. Now we get back to the courthouse. Yay, running. Oh, I got promoted while I was offline. I'm a senior associate attorney now. I have been grinding and putting in work as Miss Emma, building up her reputation. This is the first big court case in the live server. I made it back. I have like no food. You have water. Alright, she at least has water. I can buy some more water inside.
Hey there.
Hey there. Y'all getting in trouble already?
Oh, no, we don't get in trouble out here. We're just serving the community.
Good.
You looking for some burgers?
I actually need some food. I'm running low.
Amazing.
Don't want to
Hey,
pass
Marcus,
out while
we
I'm
got
up there
our
on,
first customer.
while I'm
Oh,
up there
hello.
at the before the judge. That would be bad.
Yeah, no, you don't want to pass out before the judge.
I don't think he'd ever let me live it down. Y'all have a limit to how many I can buy.
Marcus, do we have a limit?
Yeah, we're limited on stock out here because we're not in the restaurant. How many are you looking for?
Could I at least buy 5?
Sure, yeah, why not?
Okay. That would be great. That way I have some
I'll
food
get
in my food available in
Just
case.
burgers, or no? You're getting the bundle, right?
It's the bundle.
It's the
You said
bundle,
that as the
yeah.
bundle only.
So
I'll
yeah.
be 750.
Just
please.
watch your head.
Yeah, you might want to stab back. Oh, actually, no. It stayed open.
That's weird. Okay. All right, Marcus, let me know when you got that cat.
There
Yep,
you go.
got it. Thank you.
Amazing. Let me get you your food right here.
Thank you. I don't want your ID, Mr. Morris.
I am so sorry. I did not intend to do that. I didn't intend. Okay, I'll figure out how to function. I'm so sorry. Let me
It's
give
okay.
you those.
We're all excited
And-
for this very first case. The state.
Let me give you
Good to
those.
see
There
you.
you go.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
You too. Here we go. Food. I got my food. Cool. I'm actually going to. We're gonna eat the last of our honey buns. We're gonna eat one more honey bun. And we'll move the burger up to there.
You can come find me after
Oh,
the court
goodness.
case, and you can retrieve it.
Okay. How you doing, Matt?
Hello.
I got a search open.
There you go.
Okay.
I place you in cuffs to search you. Alrighty, ma'am. You have a wonderful court case.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go bring my car.
All right. Bring the machine. Buy the tin waters out of here. I'm gonna have to beat Jay up. My keys don't work anymore.
I keep going. sir. I gotta search you. Gotta place you in cuffs to search you.
Thank you, man. It's a little weird, but
Yeah, hello, Miss Emma.
So my keys don't work to the building anymore. My
Did
promotion.
you get fired?
I guess they took my keys when they promoted me.
You got promoted?
Yes, I'm a senior associate attorney now.
Oh. Well, congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll
I mean,
come let you in real quick.
you were outranking me because I was just a junior associate attorney.
Yeah, and hey, Mr. Tan. Sorry, I kind of feel like I've been doing as much work, if not more, but
I'm behind you.
that's what it is.
I'm behind you.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Marco.
I did not recognize you. Marco.
It's my
Did not
court suit.
recognize you wearing blue.
And it's my court suit.
Oh, that's completely different.
I've been saving my suit for court.
Okay. Oh, I have to get Judge to fix your keys.
Yeah,
Where you going? You going this way?
yeah, I just need to grab my my briefcase.
All right. Then I guess I'll wait here to lock it for you.
I think it said duty true. Yep. Nice, we can sit in chairs now. Okay, online. Oh, Moxie has more hours than me again. Not be acceptable. Oh, look, I am the most senior attorney in the state now. Yeah. Promotion. Okay. Brief. Okay.
Or do you want to? Want to cuff you to search you? All right, don't do
I
anything.
guess
with those
guess he
cuffs
changed the
or
locks.
I guess so.
Yeah, lock this one.
I like that we can sit down now.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
All right. Ready to go.
Good evening, all. Good evening, all. Just for posterity's sake, before we start the proceedings, can those in the back row hear me? If you can, please raise your hands.
Note.
Fantastic.
Can't hear shit.
What the hell?
The court now calls docket 25-55003, Ledger versus the San Andreas Highway Patrol into session. Are both state's prosecutor and state citizen side is all squared away and ready to proceed with a preliminary jury selection?
State is ready for trial.
Defense ready?
Marshals, can you bring the
let me get up for you.
jury out? For state's prosecutor as well as defense side is when speaking them, is make sure you're using your big voice.
Understood, Your Honor.
What do you got there?
Is there any members of the gallery is that were chosen for for jury duty but did not know where to go? If you were chosen for jury duty, you come up to the swing doors there, and one of the marshals will walk you back in.
Want it? Yeah, you push in. There you go.
I'm gonna
You
go.
can go stand over there. Sit over there, one of those chairs behind.
By virtue of coin toss, the state's prosecutor will have first crack at questioning. At questions to select a jury.
Hello, people of the jury. My first question to you: Has any of you or anyone close to you ever been involved in illegal cases, civil or criminal? If so, might that experience affect your ability and remain impartial during this case?
No, ma'am.
No.
Do any of you selected for jury duty have any strong opinions about law enforcement, the legal system, or the court process that might influence your judgment in this trial?
No, ma'am. No.
Can any of you think of any personal beliefs, past experiences, or values that might make it difficult for you to judge the case solely based on the evidence and the law?
No.
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 Is there any reason, such as hardships, biases, or prior commitment, that might prevent you from serving fairly and actively as a juror for the duration of this trial?
No.
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 Defense, the jury is yours.
Good evening, members of the jury.
Thanks.
Make sure y'all are shouting.
Members of the jury, have you or a loved one ever been involved in any sort of civil or criminal case before?
No.
Nah. No.
Have you or a loved one ever been arrested or charged with a misdemeanor or felony prior to today?
No.
Nope. Nah.
Defense has no more questions at this time. Thank you.
State's prosecutor, are you good? Is with this jury as currently seated?
State has no objections to the current jury is seated.
Defense, same questions.
No objections.
Members of the jury, you are hereby seated on court case 25-55003, Ledger versus the San Andreas Highway Patrol. Your time will be compensated for the time on this jury to the tune of $1,000 a day. Defense, you have the first. One of the jury guys. As you may begin, is with his opening statements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the case you're about to hear has two parts to it. We're here to establish Rafe Ledger's innocence, as well as punish those that should have protected him that night, but instead
DJ
saw
Dim
fit
coming
to
in with the
label him
follow.
a
Welcome to the
criminal.
Terror Squad family.
This is not a case about someone who broke the law. It's about someone who barely survived. you will hear that on the day in question, Rafe Ledger was not resisting arrest. They were not trying to run or fight. They were trying to simply stay alive. Mr. Ledger was a hostage, forcibly taken, held at gunpoint, terrified for their life, and in the final moments of that ordeal, he was shot, injured, bleeding, and in shock. When law enforcement approached, the scene was chaotic, tense, and unclear. Commands were shouted, weapons were drawn. In the midst of it all sat a person who had just been shot, who had been a victim, and who was now trying to process whether they were finally safe or still in danger. The state will suggest that Mr. Ledger didn't follow commands. But what they won't tell you is that Mr. Ledger was bleeding out. He was disoriented. He was in pain. He didn't know who to trust. And in those seconds, not minutes, but seconds of confusion, the authorities made a snap judgment. Instead of offering medical help, they shot Mr. Ledger point blank with a beanbag shotgun before even attempting to pull him to safety. Instead of asking, "Are you okay?" they asked, "Why are you resisting?" But the evidence will show that there was no resistance, only survival instinct, trauma, and fear. This case is not about defiance. It's about a traumatized victim who was treated like a suspect and whose suffering was met with accusation, not compassion. We ask you to keep an open mind and remember, victims can't always act perfectly, especially not when they've been forcibly detained against their will, especially not when they're in shock, especially not when they're bleeding out. At the end of this trial, when you've heard all the facts, seen the evidence, and understood the reality of what Mr. Ledger endured, we're confident you'll see that these charges have no place here, and you'll return the only verdict that reflects the truth, not guilty. The evidence in this case will also show the troopers did make a huge mistake. This was not a split-second judgment gone wrong. It was a choice, a knowing, deliberate use of force that went far beyond what was necessary, what was allowed, and what was right. You'll see that this was a violation of Mr. Ledger's constitutional rights, fundamental rights that are supposed to protect all of us. And you will hear that the troopers knew the rules, knew the training, knew the law, and ignored them. When this trial is over, we will ask you not only to hold the troopers accountable for the harm caused to Rafe Ledger, but to send a clear message that this kind of abuse of power will not be tolerated. No one is above the law. And that's why we will ask you to consider punitive damages. Thank you, jury. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good opening argument from defense.
Counselor?
Your Honor, esteemed members of the jury, today the state presents the facts of this volatile and dangerous situation that unfolded during a high-stakes robbery at the San Andreas Autos, involving multiple armed suspects, a high-speed confrontation, and a coordinated law enforcement response under the threat of violence. This case centers around several incidents, all tied directly to the armed robbery that occurred at the San Andreas Auto located at 768 Vespucci Avenue. Among those involved in this act was Ace Morales, Tyler Short, Travis Noobs, and the plaintiff himself, Mr. Rafe Ledger. While Mr. Ledger claims to be innocent hostage subject to excessive force, the state will show that he was not a victim of excessive force, and the use of force against him was warranted. According to multiple sworn statements and reports that you will hear, including that of Trooper Jefferson, when officers were reported to the 911 call, they were met with a clear distressed victim who immediately identified individuals in a blue Sultan vehicle to be the armed robbers that were trying to leave the scene. Officers observed this vehicle, driven by what was later identified as Mr. Ace Morales, Mr. Shorter, Mr. Noobs, and Mr. Ledger as a passenger. This vehicle, unregistered and attempting to flee from law enforcement despite repeated commands for them to stop, continued to make approaches towards the officers, attempting to flee from the scene. Officers used force after commands failed, and the threat of being run over was inevitable. Officers discharged their service weapons to protect themselves and the public from the immediate danger of what was reported to be several armed individuals inside that vehicle. Further chaos ensued as people fled from the vehicle and engaged in open gunfire with law enforcement at this very shop. Actions not consistent with behavior of a calm enough situation where people can go about it not fearing for their life, not fearing that danger is just around the corner. During this gunfight, it was reported that several officers were injured in the line of duty. Mr. Ledger claims to be a victim, alleging that he was merely a hostage. Yet evidence will show that there was no effort for him to distance himself from the suspects, nor surrender or communicate any distress to the responding officers when commands were being given. He was present in the vehicle, yes, as identified by several officers and bystanders on the scene. However, he did not comply or give even verbal compliance to law enforcement officers when they were trying to secure this vehicle while a gunfight was ensuing just around the corner. The state will demonstrate that the actions taken by the law enforcement officers were reasonable, measurable, and necessary given the threat to public safety at that given moment. We will show that the officers exercised appropriate discretion under the repeated involving the life-threatening circumstances. Furthermore, the evidence will show that Mr. Ledger's current claims of emotional and physical trauma, while unfortunate, are a result of his own proximity to the vehicle, the violent felons, not an unlawful or excessive conduct by officers. At the end of this trial, we're confident you will find that the troopers' actions acted within their bounds and their legal obligations, and Mr. Ledger's claims are without merit. Thank you.
Mr. Nighthawk, you have the first stab is at presenting his evidence, either physical or witnesses.
Your Honor, would the members of the jury have access to the electronic evidence that I've submitted to the court? The recorded witness statements for those that were unable to make it this evening?
Not at this time. I do know at least two of your statements are here in the courtroom today.
Yes, sir. Could I have approximately 10 seconds with my client?
You may.
We would like to call my client, Rafe Ledger, to the stand. Has he been sworn in yet, Your Honor?
Mr. Jones,
Yes, Your Honor.
can you swear him in?
All right, Mr. Ledger, raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can sit back down. He's ready, Your Honor.
You may begin questioning.
Mr. Ledger, good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about yourself? Simply, whereabouts do you live? What do you do for a living?
At the minute, I currently reside at the Alta Street apartment complex. I'm trying to save up for a house, but expenditures have, well, there's inflation at the minute, so it's been a little hard to save as much. Yeah, I live down there. Currently, my work place is San Andreas Autos. I work there most of the time, and I'm currently a manager there at the moment.
And what kind of a person? I'm sorry. Continue, Mr. Ledger.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to put out there that we also have a 5% discount for the rest of the day, just in case anybody wants to go up there afterwards.
I will willingly motion to strike that last bit from the record, Your Honor.
Understood.
So on that particular day, could you walk us through briefly how your day started before the events took place?
So pretty much I was working at the auto shop with a colleague, James Brooks. I haven't seen Mr. Brooks since the day it everything occurred, but hopefully he's all well and okay. Um, we were at the shop. It was a quiet day, um, and we were running around the shop, kind of looking for places to hide in the event of emergency, which was extremely convenient for what followed. Um, as I was looking for Mr. Brooks to see where he was hiding, any spots that he might have found that we could hide inside an emergency, a vehicle pulled up, to which I thought was going to be another customer that just needed upgrades to their vehicle. Um, to which a male in a bunny mask ran towards me with a gun in his hand, told me to put my hands up and not to do anything stupid. So immediately I put my hands up and complied with what they were saying. I didn't have a firearm. I had nothing to defend myself. It's pretty much helpless, so to speak. Mr. Brooks was, to my knowledge, still hiding. He told me afterwards what occurred, but I will go on to that later.
So would you say you felt like your life was in danger at that point?
Oh, absolutely. If somebody's got a gun pointed at me, it's I'm doing whatever they say. I don't want to
Could
get
you
shot.
could you let the courts as well as the members of the jury know roughly what was going through your mind while this was happening? How were you feeling?
Well, that's the first time something like that has ever happened to me in the workplace. So I was kind of all over the place. I didn't know what to do. I just wanted to try and make sure that I at least tried to get out of there without being harmed, which ironically wasn't the people that were intending to harm me that harms me.
At any point, did you try to escape or call for help?
Um, Unintentionally, I tried to make a call for help. I misworded something I was saying. They told me once they got me to the car and they had put zip ties or cuffs or whatever it was they had on my wrists behind my back. They told me not to say anything. They says not, or well, they says not to say anything at first, and then they changed their statement to tell them everything's okay and that you're here on your own free will. To which my idiotic self decided to say, I'm here against my will. Completely unintentional to say that, but I misworded what I was saying. And as the vehicle was at the doors with cops rolling up, that is, that's what I said at the time. But it was
So
misworded, but I said what I said.
we'll confirm that they had you held at gunpoint and placed you in zip ties of some kind?
Yeah, it was zip ties or handcuffs. I really couldn't tell at the time. I was just kind of in a whirlpool of emotions, trying to didn't know if I was going to get out of that. I really can't tell what it was. There was something that was restraining my hands behind my back.
And then they led you to a vehicle. What did they do with you once they got you to the vehicle?
Um, so they put me into the vehicle. They put me in the middle seat in the back. So, there was like a you could pretty much see me if you were standing in front of the vehicle perfectly.
What kind of vehicle
So I was
was
in
it
the
to the
middle
best of
seat.
your recollection? Just so the jury can try to picture, was it a sedan? Was it a SUV?
It was a it was a sporty vehicle, but it was a four door.
Okay, so they seated you in the center of the rear of the vehicle. And then can you describe for the members of the jury what happened when police arrived?
Immediately it was guns drawn. The hostage takers got in the vehicle. One of them got in the trunk, and they rolled towards the doorway. Um, they were met by officers that were, well, they I don't know. One of them seemed pretty annoyed and screaming at them. I don't know what his issue might have been, but he was screaming at the individuals and stuff to get out of the vehicle or whatever. Well, screaming at me, I guess, because apparently I was to them a threat, but uh, started screaming to tell them get out of the vehicle. And, they started replying back saying that everything was okay, to which I misspoke and says, I'm being held against my will. I did intend to say I'm here on my own free will, but I misspoke and said I'm here against my will. But they just showed up and it was guns drawn and there was no kind of de-escalation from what I was aware.
I mean, the misspeaks are, understood. That's a very stressful situation to be in. But
Yeah.
to the best of your recollection, could you try to narrate the brief seconds that it was before gunfire opened up?
Oh, so from what they were saying in the car, they didn't know what to do, and they kind of just kept like driving back and forth on the spot. Um, they went a little closer on one of the times, to which gunfire just opened. They were trying to get an idea on what they were going to do for there because they didn't want to go and ram the cops out of the way. Well,
Just
from what
slightly
they were
going
saying in
back
the
and
vehicle.
forth, you say?
Yeah,
Are
they
you
were kind of
familiar with
reversing.
the term pump fake?
No.
Uh, It's a sports-related term, basically meaning it's basketball. It looks like they're about to take a shot to the goal, but they don't fully move. Would you equate this situation to something like that, where it looks like they're going to move, but they don't move?
Well, they were already moving. They had been moving for quite a bit. It just happened that at one point the troopers just started opening fire on the vehicle. Like it wasn't something that was, I, you know, it happened once. They were full speed at the entrance. They've been going back and forth a little bit in the shop for. It wasn't that long. It was like 5-10 seconds or so. It really wasn't too long.
Okay. And at what point throughout all of this were you yourself unfortunately shot?
As the vehicle was kind of going back and forth, it was going forwards at the time whenever he was shot.
And whereabouts on your body were you shot?
I was shot in the torso, from what I can recall.
Do you recall exactly what it felt like?
Uh, to begin with, I gonna be completely honest, I didn't even realize I was shot until I started kind of feeling lightheaded. Just the adrenaline of everything, the situation that I was in. I didn't even know I'd been hit. I just seen the driver slump over. I didn't even hear the gunshots for a moment. Like everything was kind of like in slow motion. I know that sounds kind of weird to say. Just was a lot to take in at the moment.
Then after you realized that, what did you do?
Uh, kind of panicked. I was like, "Yo, can I be let out? I don't wanna die." And then that was kind of one of the last things I remember saying. I started kind of blacking out, and that was,
So,
I believe, kind of it from there.
so after you were shot, were you able to move at all?
No, no. Like my hands were behind my back. I couldn't even get out of the vehicle.
Did you understand what the officers were trying to tell you as they were approaching the vehicle?
Yeah, they were asking me to step out, but I would have been shot by the people that were inside the vehicle if I made any rash movements. I know for a fact I could have been shot if I got out of that vehicle and ran towards cops.
So as the troopers were approaching the vehicle, trying to tell you to
Mhm.
get out, what else were they doing at that point?
Two of them, to my knowledge, it was kind of fading in and out of consciousness quite a bit. But I did notice two of them run past the vehicle that I was in, past the people that needed medical attention, to chase two of the kidnappers that were in the vehicle because they got out and ran around the back of the shop. If you've ever been up there, it's uh, it's our little storage area, we like to call it at SA Autos. Two of the hostage takers run around there, both with firearms. Two of the cops just decided to run in past the vehicle that I'm pretty sure still had two people in it. Well, sorry, three, including me. One being downed, and I guess the other one was just didn't want to get out in the fear of getting shot. Or if they were holding a gun at me, I didn't see it. But yeah, two troopers ran past all of that, and I'm sure they probably got shot from what I heard. I don't know if it was the same troopers that got shot, but I know a couple of them got shot later.
At what point did a less than lethal beanbag shotgun come into play?
Uh, ooh. not too long after the two guys ran around the side. Maybe a minute, 2 minutes, if even that. I don't even know. I don't even think it was that long. It was way less than that.
From your position in the vehicle, as well as what you were hearing troopers talk about, were you
Mhm.
mentally aware that it would be a less than lethal weapon?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Right. From your position in the vehicle, as well as from what you were hearing the troopers mention and talk about,
Hmm.
were you aware that it was a less than lethal weapon that they were bringing into the equation?
No, I didn't even know they were gonna like start shooting again. I thought they kind of had the situation handled, or were some point gonna start trying to negotiate and try and de-escalate. But next thing I know, I'm hitting the chest with a beanbag shotgun. It actually hit me that hard it knocked me out of the car.
At any point prior to being struck by the beanbag shotgun, did officers attempt to make verbal communication with you? And that is
Um,
directly with you.
Directly with me, no. It was very unclear to um, hear most of them as well because they were shouting over each other half the time, and uh, yeah, it really wasn't handled well, in my opinion.
At any point prior to being struck by the beanbag shotgun, did troopers attempt to check on you medically wise to see if you were bleeding, to see if you were conscious, to see if you were coherent?
Uh, Only once I was brought outside the mechanic shop, to my knowledge.
At any point prior to being shot by the beanbag shotgun, did officers attempt to go hands on with you to remove you from the vehicle?
No, like
Mr.
I
Ledger,
said,
that
two of
evening,
them.
did you ever try to fight or run from the police?
No,
Mr. Ledger, in your personal opinion, did you resist arrest?
I did not resist arrest. I complied with them fully, um, to the my fullest extent, but I could only do so much whilst I had guns pointed at me.
Okay. And once they got you out and you were able to receive medical attention, did the medics advise to the full extent what type of injuries you suffered that evening?
They told me about the gunshot wound to my torso, and it would impact the amount of work that I could be doing over the next 2, 3 to maybe even 4 weeks, um, until I start getting on the path to recovery, which thankfully happened pretty quickly in my case. Um, but I was off quite a lot of duties for some time. I was mainly just training people in the shop, and that was kind of my role just until I was able to start being able to do a lot more in the shop.
At this point in time, approximately 3 weeks after the incident, do you feel personally that you have fully recovered physically and emotionally?
No,
How would you say this event has affected your life?
well, I feel like I can't trust the people that are meant to protect us anymore. There's no trust there anymore. They, in my personal opinion, seem to be too quick on the trigger to want to shoot people rather than to protect and save lives.
And Mr. Ledger, when I first met you, you were a fairly casually dressed individual, and there's one garb of attire you have on tonight. Could you tell the members of the jury, as well as the members of the court, why you feel the need to wear a bulletproof vest?
Yes. Well, the specific individual isn't here tonight, the commissioner, but the whole kind of highway patrol department in general, with the recent way they've conducted themselves and their actions, I feel that I'm not safe, and pretty much everyone else are not safe around them.
The jury will be instructed to strike that last statement during deliberations. It's breaching.
Understood. Your Honor, questions.
Counselor, your witness.
Thank you.
Am I okay to leave this down?
Opposing counsel is going to cross-examine
Oh,
you.
okay.
If you need to stretch your legs, now's the perfect time.
Oh, it's okay.
So, Mr. Ledger, you stated earlier that you were going to make the statement, "I'm here on my own free will." Why were you going to make that statement?
Because I was in fear for my life and didn't want to get shot for saying the wrong thing.
So, if you were saying that you were there on your own free will, why not say that you were there against your will, which is what you stated that you did? Is there any reason specifically why you were saying that you were there of your own free will?
Yeah, like I said, I, I didn't want
Your
to get
Honor,
shot in
objection
this
asked and
situation.
answered.
Sustained.
So, during the time when they were all in the car and they were driving around the shop, at any point of them driving, did you hear officers giving them commands to stop the vehicle?
To the driver, yes. I didn't hear them give commands to anybody else in the vehicle.
At any point during the driving, did you hear the officers tell them that they would shoot if they drove near them again?
Not that I can recall, no. There's no warning before any shots were fired. Not even the beanbag.
So after they opened fire on the car, and you were unfortunately struck by one of the rounds, and after the people left the vehicle and ran off from law enforcement, during that time that you were sitting in that the back of the car, did you ever hear additional gunfire go off before you were approached by officers in the car?
Mr. Ledger. Mr. Ledger. Counselor, can you hear the sound of my voice?
I can, Your Honor.
Mr. Ledger.
Oh.
During the time in which we will wait for Mr. Ledger to return to the stand. We're going to take a brief recess. For anybody, for anybody who wishes to view the witness statement, they will be on the public court document and the court docket near the bottom of our massive email chain. The jury will be sent back to the jury room. As for anybody else, from what I am being told, is that there is food outside if you need a drink or a snack. Jury, if you need food or drinks, please let a marshal know and they will gather it for you. Court's adjourned is for a brief 10-minute recess.
Yep. There's one coming here. Sir, can you get the door for me? Yeah. No, no, no.
I had to do this last time.
No. Oh my gosh. The clerk will get it.
You do it? Oh, bing bong.
Alright, who in here needed food?
There you go. Goddamn.
So all you need food here.
Yeah.
What, huh?
You guys getting arrested.
I know, right? Like you went through all this trouble. That's seriously the same shit. I thought. I was like, you were over here like, oh, I wonder if this is appropriate for them. I was like, nope, that's not the case.
Good morning, or good evening, Miss
Everybody
Bliss.
else?
Good evening.
It's pretty gussy up.
How are things doing?
Good. I was just
Yeah.
starting my cross-examination.
Everybody needs to remember to eat and drink.
Yeah, you're doing well in there.
Yeah, just had one
You're
hiccup
eating
of
drink
repeating a question.
somewhere?
But
Yep, I'm good.
it is what it is.
Yeah,
Just had to stretch my legs for a minute because.
that's what we do.
Was there food out here? Oh.
Do you feel like you need a co-counsel?
Yeah, it's like outside.
I would be happy to have a co-counsel if you want to join in on this. I can get you.
Oh, absolutely.
Want to go grab something?
I can send you all my case notes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I gotta get a smoke. I'm going outside. You coming?
All right, let me get that taken care of real fast.
I don't know why I'm stressed the fuck out. Not sure why.
Give me a second, y'all. Get these case notes over to this co-counsel that wants to join on.
If you'd like, you can send it to my emails whenever you have it.
Emmett, you're in a skirt.
I'm not gonna be coming back. Can I get my flyers?
I know, I'm trying to do something.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, let me take care of that. Okay.
Perfect.
You should have access to all the case notes and stuff I have for this case so far.
Yep, I have that.
Now, the only thing I'm wondering is how many of the officers that I have for the state's witness list are on duty right now.
So we would need Sergeant Mike Hams, Jay Dawson, Chad Martin, Henry Jefferson.
No, I have another one. The witnesses that were directly involved with this are Officer Henry Jefferson, who was the one that shot Officer Jay Dawson, who was with Officer Jefferson as first responding, Commissioner, and Lieutenant Hams now.
Okay. Do you want me to make some phone calls to the Highway Patrol and see if we can get these people here?
If you want to make some phone calls to see if you could get, if they're on duty and if they want to come to the courthouse. I wasn't aware that we were doing the whole shebang in one going. Last I heard, we were just sitting and doing opening statements.
Right. Okay. Let me make some phone calls and I should be back by the time it is ready.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Sometimes that happens when I'm trying to look at my external emails.
Yeah. I know.
It's a pain.
That's why I don't really wear a skirt.
Popped out the suit for the first case, so.
I'll say I'll pop in and see what's going on.
Probably running out of time for recess here. Rose, did you want to let Tyler know that I'm going to be calling him second if we have time? If Judge allows?
Yeah, let me go get him real quick.
Okay.
Moxie, do you have a witness that's on a time crunch?
No, I just spoke. I'm intending to call Tyler second and then
Okay.
Rose third. Tyler, I'm not sure about. It all depends on how much longer you have for Mr. Ledger here. Rose said she's good for the whole evening, though.
Okay, yeah, I just have a couple more questions.
Yeah. What was the question you asked me before, just so I can go up there and answer it once session's back in session?
I think it'd probably be good to have her restate it just for the
Yeah,
jury as well.
I'll restate it for the jury and
Yeah.
for the case notes.
Let me ask Tyler real
Gotcha.
quick. Hey, Tyler, you're not on.
Sorry, I had to hide under the desk in the fetal position.
It's okay.
So a trooper walked in.
You had a panic attack. I understand.
Ledger here. I'm gonna call you second, and then I'm gonna call Rose third. Okay. Alrighty.
And then Moxie, I actually have a co-counsel for state that's checking on the availability of state's witnesses.
Okay. Good.
Wasn't last I heard we were just doing jury and opening statements. Wasn't realizing it was
Same.
a whole shebang.
Yeah. Hopefully we can at least get through the majority of witnesses. Maybe have
Yeah.
jury deliberation be the next few days.
Have had a curveball right there, right here at the start, huh?
Yeah. Curveballs left and right. I was never really good at baseball.
Good.
It's more of a soccer person.
Have a little trouble with the curve.
I have no troubles with curves.
It's another baseball reference, Moxie.
Oh, could have confused me.
Any luck?
Hello, welcome.
Hello, Miss Bliss. I spoke to the Highway Patrol, and Mr. Martin is coming down here soon.
Martin. Who is Martin?
Chad Martin.
Chad Martin, he's one of the individuals, yeah.
Moxie, can I speak with you real quick?
Sure.
No, I mean, from what I've heard,
Don't.
or from what
Oh, what was his involvement with this?
He was Jay Dawson's partner during this.
Okay. Yeah, I never got a chance to speak with him, so yeah, so Jefferson and Dawson are not on duty?
Dawson isn't on duty, and Jefferson isn't either.
Okay.
The state appears to be.
And the commissioner isn't as of now, but Mr. Martin said he would make contact with all individuals involved to see if they could make it here today.
Make it to the case. Okay. I mean, if not, I could always ask the judge for continuance until we can get our.
Yeah. Oh, just one sec.
Okay, I'll rise.
It's kind of. I mean.
You
yeah.
can't stand on the tree. There you go.
Is it starting?
Maybe be seated.
I think it was an accident. Yeah.
I think you can be seated.
It was an earthquake.
God, I had to stretch my legs.
That or.
There you go in first.
Shit.
Whole lot of gang shit. Siéntate en la silla.
Musical chairs today.
Hey, yo, pause.
Hey, get off your fucking phone, man.
That's jury duty, brother. We all put in for jury duty, so I'm just exempt.
We'll be starting session here.
Okay.
in just a moment.
If you just want to pass along to the judge that we are reaching out to see if state's witnesses are available or able to come wake up and come down to the courthouse.
Okay. Shh. I will let her know.
Thank you. Moxie.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a chance to speak with Chad Martin?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Okay. State's going to be adding him to our witness list because he was actually partners with Officer Dawson the night of the event.
Yeah, I think we had. Can't remember if you were there, but Martin was one of the first ones that I spoke to.
Okay, I don't think I was there. Judge is back.
Miss Bliss, Mr. Martin is in the
Sergeant on the carry.
seats behind us.
Okay,
He just
wonderful.
arrived.
What's up, Flags? How you doing, brother?
Doing alright. He got mad at me earlier. I called him bald.
Called him bald, man.
Yeah, you got a haircut.
Yeah, I could just open it for you.
Blinding me. And he
There you
got
go.
all mad and walked away.
Me? What? Did I kill you? Which one?
Okay.
ma'am, you're requested at the request of the judge to go into his chambers.
Okay.
We don't really need it when we're outside. Sorry, that's my bad.
Are you coming? We've been summoned to the judge's chambers.
Oh, yep.
Both inferior, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Counselors.
Good morning,
Yes,
Your
Your
Honor.
So, are the people is that you want to come down to provide witness statements? Are they outside the ones that have already provided sworn statements?
Chad Martin does have a statement on record, Your Honor.
Is there a additional person outside of Chad Martin?
Your Honor, Mr. Martin was going to contact his partners that were involved in the situation to see if they were available to come down here, but as of now, it's just Mr. Martin.
Okay.
Yep. So I've already informed the plaintiff's counsel that the state's adding Officer Chad Martin to our witness list because he was the partner of Jay Dawson, one of the first responding officers to the scene.
Understood. Okay, so we'll go back out there and continue with state's cross-examination of Mr. Ledger.
Understood and ready.
Understood and ready.
Sorry, Mark.
Too many donuts.
Oh! Don't worry, Moxie. I'm climbing on the chairs as well.
Be seated. Court's back in session. Marshall, can you retrieve the jury?
Alright, y'all. Let's go. The same seats you guys were at before. Yeah, let me get you right. Sir?
Okay, here we go. Round 2.
Counsel, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, I'll be repeating the question for Mr. Rafe Ledger and the jury to hear that was made before the recess. Mr. Ledger
acknowledges.
Mr. Ledger, during your time after you were shot in the back of the vehicle, did you ever hear a large amount of gunfire break out from around the corner in the shop?
Yes. There was quite a lot of gunfire that did occur. I just don't know where exactly it was. I'm guessing that was the shooting I was later told about that occurred around the back of the auto shop.
Now, you made the statement that 2 officers ran by you, and then other officers, the initial officers, 2 officers that were on the scene ran by you towards the subjects that ran. And then there was another set of officers that approached you and the others that were still in the vehicle. Do you remember how many people are still in the vehicle with you?
To my best recollection, I think it was 3 of us. There was me and then the other 2. I can't remember whether one was in the back seat with me or the other one was in the passenger seat. But I know the driver was still in the vehicle with me because he was the one that got shot.
And while you were in the vehicle and the officers were approaching those of you that remained in the vehicle, did you ever hear them giving general orders to the occupants of that were still in the vehicle?
I can't recall off the top of my head because a lot of it was they were shouting it over each other, so it's kind of hard to recall that.
Prior to the beanbag shotgun, did officers ever give any final verbal commands to you or any other occupant in the vehicle to exit the vehicle?
Um, Again, I'm not 100% sure, but there was a lot of shouting over each other and so forth. It was quite unclear to hear a lot of what they were saying because they were just talking over the top of each other and shouting at each other.
So after you were shot with the beanbag shotgun and removed from the vehicle, were you kept inside for an extended period of time, or as soon as you were detained, taken directly out of the building to the awaiting medics?
I think I was left unattended for a little bit. I can't recall exactly how long, but I was on the floor for a good bit that I remember. Just trying to breathe. I remember my breathing being hard to breathe. But it was a little bit before somebody actually came over and started dragging me out. I don't recall anybody like staying with me and checking on me. I just recall being dragged out of the auto shop to where they started trying to help and render medical aid.
From the time that you were shot with a gun by a gun and then shot with a beanbag shotgun, did you ever lose consciousness?
Like I said with Mr. Moxie, I did have a little couple times where I was blacking in and out of consciousness. Uh, I do recall a lot of it pretty well, but yes, there was a couple times where I'd been in and out of consciousness.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Moxie, Mr. Nighthawk, do you have any final questions?
Nothing on redirect, Your Honor.
Mr. Ledger, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Nighthawk, you may call your next witness if you have one.
We wish to call Mr. Tyler Stewart, responding medic for the evening.
Mr. Jones?
Right. Mr. Stewart, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
May I begin, Your Honor?
You may begin.
Mr. Stewart, how are you this evening?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. Mr. Stewart, could you state your full name and position for the record?
I'm Tyler Stewart, currently a engineer within the San Andreas Fire Department.
Mr. Stewart, how long have you worked in emergency medicine?
Just for the San Andreas Fire Department, just about a month now.
Were you dispatched to the scene on that day of the 24th/23rd?
Put that taco down.
I was.
When you arrived, did you observe Mr. Rafe Ledger?
I did.
Where was it that you made contact with him?
He was in the road on Vespucci Boulevard, somewhere between the postals of 769 and 771. in the street between some highway patrol cars and some other agency vehicles.
How did he get to this position?
I'm unsure.
Did you speak to any troopers on scene prior to making contact with Mr. Ledger?
I attempted to. The troopers seemed they didn't really answer any of my questions.
To the best of your recollection, what was Mr. Ledger's physical condition when you first saw him?
I did a quick look over of him. He had a GSW to the chest. He was not responsive at the time of first patient contact. There was about 1 to 2 units of blood in the direct area where Mr. Ledger was. From there, I further assessed his vitals. I hooked up a 12 lead. He was fairly stable, besides the fact that he was shot 1 time in the chest.
And you mentioned there was blood in the area. Did he himself appear to be physically bleeding?
Yes.
How would you describe the severity of his injuries?
Critical.
How would you describe his level of consciousness?
He was unconscious, or what appeared to be unconscious at the time of making contact with him, non-responsive to any questions.
Was he responsive to any physical touch?
Not to my knowledge.
In your medical opinion, do you believe Mr. Ledger may have been in shock?
Yes.
Could you describe for the members of the jury as well as the court what shock entails?
There's many different ways shock can present itself. The most common form is going to be a rapid and weak pulse, shallow breathing, cool, clammy skin, as well as a altered mental state.
And in your medical opinion, how would shock typically affect a person's ability to process information or follow instructions?
It would severely hinder their ability to clearly and concisely and within a timely manner go through with most, if not all, commands issued by law enforcement in terms of needing to surrender themselves.
Mr. Stewart, were you able to administer treatment to Mr. Ledger immediately?
Yes.
So there were no
Actually,
delays? Sorry, go ahead.
I had to treat 1 or 2 troopers before I even knew of Mr. Ledger.
This particular situation, would you have declared this a mass casualty incident?
Yes.
Was triage established?
No.
If triage were to be established, how would you label Mr. Ledger's injuries?
Red tag.
And to explain to the jury and the members of the court, a red tag in a triage situation resembles what exactly?
The most critical. Someone who needs to be transported immediately from whatever situation they are in to a hospital for medical treatment.
When you approached Mr. Ledger, did it appear that he was handcuffed or restrained in any way, shape, or form?
Not upon my first initial look over. Once I got him onto the stretcher, it did appear that he was restrained in some way.
Did you notice any injuries around his wrist from restraints?
I did.
During your time in this situation, did law enforcement ever treat Mr. Ledger as a suspect in your opinion?
Yes.
And based on your trainings, would a person in Rafe Ledger's condition, bleeding and in shock, be physically or mentally capable of quickly responding to shouted commands?
No.
So in your professional opinion, simple hesitance or failure to comply would not necessarily indicate resistance. It could simply be a trauma response?
Yes, that would be a fair assessment.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. I have no further questions for him, Your Honor. That darn chair.
Counselor, your witness. I'm so sorry. Mr. Nighthawk, you know that you can align your chakras and sit in that chair, right?
Negative, Your Honor, not with this particular chair. I
No?
gave my client the chair that is seatable. This
It's because
this
you got
one
bad
is.
karma, Mr. Moxie.
Yep. I have not done yet enough yoga, Your Honor. I apologize.
Counsel, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I have a couple questions for you. First question is, when you arrived on scene, were there any officers in the immediate vicinity of the plaintiff providing medical aid or bringing a med bag to him?
No.
Upon your assessment of the plaintiff, did it appear that there was any medical aid attempted or rendered to them?
Not that I can recall.
And my last question for you, sir. You stated that shock could cause a altered mental status. Could
Correct.
could this, in your medical opinion, cause a person to remember events in a different way than what they actually occurred?
Potentially.
No further questions.
Citizen's attorney, is there any rebuttal questions?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Stewart, you may step down. Down the middle, sir.
Yep.
Citizen's attorney, do you have further witnesses to call?
Yes, Your Honor. We wish to call Rose Kendall.
Mr. Jones.
Right, Miss Kendall, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Right, you may
Miss
take a
Kendall?
seat.
Miss Kendall, how are you this evening?
Yeah, not too bad.
Could you also, for the record, state your full name as well as position?
My name is Rose Kendall. I'm the Deputy Chief of the San Andreas Fire Department.
And at what point did you come into contact with my client, Rafe Ledger?
On the day of the incident, there was a mass casualty request. I had to. We didn't have too many paramedics on call at the time, so we had to route out different paramedics from different areas to go to the call. Once we got there, there was multiple people down, around 4 at least, that we could see at first. We weren't really sure of how many injured suspects. There was one that was very apparent where there was a agent who was treating one, and then there was a trooper. We didn't get called about anyone else until I think it was a fellow trooper ended up saying there was another person injured, which was your client.
That evening, did you provide care for Mr. Ledger?
I don't believe I did at that time, no.
did you provide follow-up care for Mr. Ledger?
I did.
What was his condition when you met with him for follow-up?
Mr. Ledger was having issues walking at the time. He was complaining of having spasms and cramps, struggling to walk upstairs or taking long walks. He was using a frame at the time to walk around. He had to frequently stop whenever I was talking to him. Appeared shaken. Ended up doing follow-up investigations, which just showed that he was healing from his trauma that he had from the impact to his torso.
Were his injuries severe enough to necessitate any form of surgery?
After prior, no. However, I did say to him that depending on obviously his healing process and if it heals correctly or not, it could need further surgery down the line. It still to this day could need further surgery down the line.
Ms. Kendall, throughout your entire career in medicine, I'll actually rephrase. How long have you been practicing medicine?
Long enough.
Based off of what you've seen in your career of typical ballistic injuries, what kind of damage would you expect from a wound like Mr. Ledger sustained?
I mean, you see them quite often. Obviously, depending on, so there's so many factors that can come into it, depending on the injury. However, it doesn't take much to actually cause an impact, as he sustained. It's quite common, actually.
What type of organs, nerves, or structures are most likely affected, given where he sustained the
Objection.
gunshot wound?
Reasoning.
Your Honor, I don't think there was any of us that made the objection.
Man, what the hell, man?
Comments from the gallery will be kept to a minimum, or you will be held in contempt. The citizen's attorney, you may continue with questioning.
Ms. Kendall, would you like me to restate that for you?
No, you're fine. Obviously, there's many different organs that can be injured from the injuries or the type of injury that he sustained. It doesn't take much for scarring to happen on tissue. You can have internal bleeding, bone fractures. It could cause to further injury. Let's say he could have a problem with his tendons or further vascular issues due to those injuries. Just depends on the healing process and how much time it takes to heal.
What kind of force, medically speaking, what kind of force is exerted by a beanbag round at close range?
Well, obviously, they're made to subdue a suspect or a person. It's meant to do harm. I mean, it's been known for them to break bones, cause tissue and ligament damage. In actual fact, in some cases, is known to even, depending on where it hurts, potentially kill someone.
In your medical knowledge, do you believe that cumulative trauma can increase the risk of death, shock, or long-term disability?
Oh, absolutely.
What do you believe is the expected psychological impact of being held hostage, especially with physical trauma involved?
Well, the problem is you're mixing both of them together. Not only did he suffer mental trauma, but he also suffered physical trauma. So even if you can stem or repair one part of it, you're never going to repair it fully. And it can be for something small as to nothing. That could be he could be fine and have no trauma. but in, say, a year down the line, or 2 months down the line, or 3 years down the line, something could trigger it. Or he could be having trauma where, as I believe he said earlier, where he's afraid of law enforcement due to those things that happened to him. But the combination makes it definitely more challenging, especially when dealing with patients and trying to get them rehabilitated.
In your medical knowledge, do you believe that a situation like this could
Oh my
possibly lead to
God.
PTSD? Your Honor?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, could you instruct the court to not have outbursts?
Let's go, brother. Come on. Come on.
Marshals, do you know who the person was? You need me to move?
What's going on?
Your Honor, I personally do not know who it is. I believe the marshal might know.
What's going on?
Came from this back row. Let's
right, the one with the radio.
All right, you got it with the radio. Let's go.
I ain't no snitch. I heard none. I heard none. I ain't no snitch.
Shut up.
You need me to move, Marshal?
Yeah. Hop up.
I didn't say anything.
Come on, brother.
I didn't say anything.
We're gonna go out to the lobby.
I'm good.
Let's go.
You need to leave.
Go.
Guys, there's an after party, Cloud 9.
Marshals,
Shit, I'm gonna pull up to that. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, 419.
Apologies, Ms. Kendall.
No problem.
So as I was stating, do you believe that this
Stand by
cumulative...
Mr. Moxie.
Oh, sorry.
And what the hell going on in this courthouse?
Nope, and someone was tased.
Citizen's attorney, you may continue questioning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm so sorry. Marshal?
Hey, Marshal, he's calling you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell them to charge that man with 419.
Yes.
You may continue, Mr. Nighthawk.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Kendall, do you believe a situation like this could further lead down to possibly PTSD, disassociation, or other long-term psychiatric effects?
I mean, that's just a few, but yes.
And when it comes to treatment overall of Mr. Ledger, based on what you know, were the injuries managed according to standard trauma protocols?
Yes.
In your opinion, which injury posed the greatest threat to life or long-term health?
Well, I mean, obviously the gunshot wound is itself is quite deadly, but the mental strain on his health could impose more long-term and potential.
And do you believe medically that the beanbag injury could have worsened the outcome of the gunshot wound?
Oh, absolutely.
Your Honor, Ms. Kendall, I have no further questions. Thank you.
State's attorney, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let it be known for the record that Miss Rose Kendall is my grandmother, Emma Bliss, state prosecution, and a conflict of interest waiver was filed with the courts.
It's understood.
Miss Kendall, you stated that when you arrived, it was a mass casualty incident. Is that correct?
Yes.
Could you explain to the court what exactly a mass casualty entails?
I mean, it's pretty simple as it entails. It just means that there's multiple people that are injured on the scene. Unknown how many, but more than 2.
Did you ever have a final count of how many victims you or injured persons that you had on the scene at the San Andreas Autos?
I believe it was, I think it was 5.
And out of the 5, how many of those were officers to your knowledge?
1.
Now, you stated in your questioning with the plaintiff's lawyer that you made follow-up visits with the plaintiff. Were those done at the hospital or out of the hospital?
I believe one was at the hospital, and one was, I don't remember where else, but it was somewhere else because he wasn't able to come to the hospital.
Did you ever see the plaintiff, Mr. Ray Fletcher, at his job at San Andreas Autos following sustaining these injuries?
I do not think so, no.
When you visited him outside of the hospital, was he doing any physical labor, anything that could further progress or worsen his injuries or pain or suffering?
Quite the opposite. He looked like an old man. He's using a Zimmer frame. I personally wouldn't have used that, but that was, I guess, his choice.
And just for the court's knowledge, what exactly is a Zimmer frame? Did I have that right?
It's just a made frame to help support your body, but he had upper body injuries or torso up, which, I mean, although it would have taken some weight off it, probably would have been better off him in a wheelchair, but I guess that was his choice.
So, and best describe this. Would this be like a walker or?
Yeah.
Okay. No further questions from State, Your Honor.
Citizen's Attorney, any final questions?
Nothing on redirect, Your Honor.
Ms. Kendall, you may step down. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I still have the walker in my vehicle if you would like it. If you would like to see it.
Granddad. Get someone look this for me, please.
Moxie.
Marshall.
Can someone grab the swing doors for Miss Kendall?
When I see you.
You need help, sir? You have to sit back down. You have to sit back down. Just sit back down.
Citizen Attorney and State's Attorney, do you have any final witnesses to call or ones that are present?
We do have on record a recorded statement from Chad Martin, who was a trooper on scene. However, I do have a couple further questions, Your Honor, if I may have 5 minutes to call Chad Martin to the stand.
Is Chad Martin present in the gallery today?
He is, Your Honor. He's in the back.
Chad Martin, called to the stand. Mr. Jones.
Right. Mr. Martin, do you solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martin, please be seated.
Mr. Martin, good evening. How are you?
I'm all right.
Could you, for the record, state your full name as well as position within the department?
Yes, newly promoted Lieutenant Chad Martin.
Golly,
Lieutenant, congratulations on your promotion, sir.
moved up the rank
Thank you.
fast.
Lieutenant Martin, you would say you are very familiar with your department's use of force policy, correct?
Yes.
Could you explain for the courts what exactly the use of force protocols are?
Yes. So there's multiple different levels of use of force that officers have at their disposal. They are to meet the appropriate level for the level that is being displayed. So, for example, someone that is just being verbally combative just need to use verbal commands. If the person displays a lethal weapon, they'll display lethal force, and the extremities in between that for the appropriate levels.
I've heard the use of force be identified as a pyramid. Could you identify all the levels of the use of force continuum?
Yes, you have the officer presence, verbal commands, hand-to-hand combat, less than lethal, lethal, and then there's subcategories within each one of those.
Would you agree that yourself, as well as other troopers, are trained to use the least amount of force necessary to control the situation?
They are trained on the levels of use of force. They are trained on what levels are appropriate given which situations, and are very aware as to which level should be appropriately used to gain compliance and control of the entirety of the situation given the total circumstances.
Are troopers also taught to reassess the need for force as situation evolves?
They are taught that this is a dynamic, flowing chart. It can go from 0 to 100 really fast. It can go from 100 to 0 really fast.
Now, could you state for the jury your involvement when you came into contact with Mr. Ledger?
Yes, I was one of the final arriving units on scene after everything had been secured. My role was majority of just scene securement, ensuring that all individuals were accounted for, as well as collecting of some evidence to ensure that it is not missed, as well as overall scene cleanup. I was not directly involved during the ongoing part of the situation.
As a lieutenant, member of command, have you gathered and reviewed body cam footage from the date of the incident?
Due to my position at the time of the incident, I was unable to. At the time of the incident, I believe I was only a corporal, which I did not have access to any of that information. Nor was I informed of any public information requests to pull any evidence of that.
In your training of use of force, would you state that striking someone who is handcuffed or already subdued, would you see that not aligning with the use of force continuum?
I think it's totality of the circumstances with that, meaning that if the person is displaying a level of resistance still, such as trying to escape, they may use small hand-to-hand combat techniques, such as gaining pressure points, things of that nature, to gain further compliance.
And what is your training? Actually, disregard that question. That question was answered in our interview. I apologize. The jury can view that. Do you agree that failure to follow department policy could result in disciplinary action or criminal charges?
We do have that within our policy and standard procedures where all officers are to obey all Highway Patrol manual policies as well as legal procedures.
Your Honor, nothing further at the time. Lieutenant, thank you for your time.
State's Attorney, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Lieutenant Martin, when you arrived on scene, what was the situation?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Once you arrived on the scene of the San Andreas autos, what was the situation at that time?
The situation at that time was medical was on scene treating multiple individuals. I had interacted with our highway commissioner, David, at the time to determine needs of the situation. I was informed to ensure that all subjects were accounted for, had troopers with them, and then that the scene was fully secured at that point.
So you arrived on the scene after the shootout had already been controlled?
Yes.
In your professional opinion, during a situation of an active shooter where subjects flee from a vehicle and continue to shoot at the officers, but there's still subjects in the vehicle, would you suggest a hands-on approach to that vehicle, knowing that other occupants of the vehicle were known to be armed and dangerous?
No. In that, I would recommend that officers and I myself would also follow Tennessee v. Gardner, United States Supreme Case Law, where we are authorized to use lethal force so long as the threat, let's say the person's fleeing this vehicle, is demonstrating a lethal or a deadly serious injury result if they are let go. And at that point, we can use lethal force to protect ourselves and the citizens of San Andreas.
If there were subjects that were refusing to get out of the vehicle, would you use non-lethal measures to get them out of the vehicle?
So long as I have the resources, and this is all totality of the circumstances, if I have the resources, yes. If I do not have the resources at the time, I may escalate to lethal force without using it, just a demonstration of it, to hopefully try and gain compliance. But for the extraction of someone out of a vehicle, less than lethal or some variation thereof would be appropriate.
In your professional opinion with this case, would officers using a beanbag shotgun to get non-compliant subjects out of a vehicle while there's still an active shooter be a justifiable use of force within your department's policies?
Can you further expand onto what the subjects within that I am contacting with the said less than lethal are presenting to me?
The subjects in the vehicle are not being compliant to verbal commands being given while there is an active shooter threat in the same location and officers are engaging in a shootout with other subjects.
I would say that they are within the realm to have lethal force presented, not used, unless these subjects present a motion that would endanger themselves or citizens. At that point, they would be authorized to use lethal force, given the totality of the circumstances.
No further questions from State, Your Honor.
Citizens Attorney, is any rebuttal questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Lieutenant, with your tenure in the Highway Patrol, You become pretty familiar with the San Andreas Penal Code, correct?
Yes.
Could you explain for the members of the jury resisting arrest?
Resisting arrest is the act upon avoiding apprehension or arrest by an officer from a non-vehicular means or by physical means. They are trying to be physically detained, arrested by a peace officer, and they escape or attempt to escape from said officer's lawful custody.
And could you explain for the members of the jury obstruction of a government employee?
Obstruction of a government employee, that is the act upon willful or malicious intent to interfere or obstruct a government employee from their duties or commit an act in which would hinder those duties. This also expands onto like commands and other things like that.
In your professional opinion, would you see a person who had just been shot, bleeding out, who is non-responsive to verbal commands? Would you see that as a sign of resistance?
If they are not obeying commands, it can be, by the legal penal code, classified as an obstruction or resisting of arrest. They've been given lawful commands. They are failing to comply.
In your personal opinion, do you believe somebody who's been shot, bleeding out, possibly in shock, who's not responsive to verbal commands, would you believe that to be resisting or obstructing?
I don't believe that I should be able to answer that question, sir.
Your Honor, if you can rule.
The witness will be instructed to respond to the question.
In that sense, I have given them lawful orders. I will try to temporarily detain them to gain control of the entirety of the situation. Upon full securement of the situation and determining that they are not a suspect or active threat to the situation, I will remove them and then tend to their injuries as quickly as possible.
Thank you again, Lieutenant. Your Honor, nothing further. At this time, defense rests.
State's Attorney, any final questions?
No final questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Martin, you may step down. Thank you for your time. The Citizen's Attorney, did you have any final witnesses to call before closings?
Nothing more, Your Honor. We rest.
State's Attorney.
One moment, Your Honor, let me confirm. We weren't able to get a hold of anybody else?
Apparently not. I would have to ask Mr. Martin.
Your Honor, State needs to confer with Lieutenant Martin for a brief moment.
Okay, to that end, the court is going to take a brief 5-minute recess to stand, stretch our leg, and just grab some food. We will reconvene in exactly 5 minutes.
Your Honor, for the record, we are ready for closing.
Understood.
Lieutenant, go over here.
Okay.
We have a T-Rex.
Jaden and NCC coming in with the follow. Welcome to the Terror Squad family.
Lieutenant, were you able to come across any the other witnesses that I asked you about?
No, none of them are on duty today. I can check one more time to see if they are.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Can you remind me of their names real quick?
It's going to be the Commissioner, Henry Jefferson and Jay Dawson.
Yeah, it looks like none of them are available today.
And Lieutenant Hams.
And Lieutenant Hams.
Lieutenant Hams is available today.
Can you see if he could come down here?
Yes. Would you still need me here? Because I believe him and I are both the 71s of tonight.
No, we wouldn't need you any further. We would just need to. We'll swap you out with Lieutenant Hams.
Hey, buddy. The attorneys are requesting your presence at 640. We would swap out where you would take my position. Okay, you can also show up in uniform if you'd like. Which would you like to do? Okay, you're coming in uniform? Okay, alright, we'll see you shortly. Alright, he's on his way. He's just coming off the street, so give him
Wonderful.
just a few minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time,
Thank you.
and
Of course.
congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
Go keep.
I
our
will
streets
say,
safe.
I don't believe that I should have given a personal statement about that.
I agree, but
I'm no attorney.
Yeah,
I'm no attorney.
I agree. You did the right thing, but the judge overruled and had you answer. So
There's nothing I can do about it.
there's nothing that we could do about it without you facing contempt charges.
And you don't want to do that.
No, I like my position.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
overall, everything was good.
Yep. All right. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time, Lieutenant.
Of course.
I'll go inform the judge.
Oh,
Do we
well.
know of his estimated arrival?
Let me look at our GPS.
And then I'll let you. I'll talk to you real quick before we go inform the judge. Just give him that extra.
I believe he's about to walk through the door.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll let you out, Lieutenant.
Okay, thank you. Would you like me to have Hams come in here?
If you just want to have him wait in the lobby.
Just have him wait in the lobby.
So, have you caught on to what state's defense is?
Yes, we're trying to go forward with
Yeah,
the fact.
Justifiable use of force.
Yep.
Because there was an ongoing active shooter situation. The subjects that were still in the vehicle were not complying, so they used non-lethal to take control of that vehicle.
Right.
Until the active shooters were detained.
Correct.
All right. I'm fine with if they want to expunge his record of the 2 charges. I'm fine with that because of his medical condition. But awarding of damages is pretty much what we're fighting here. And we're using the defense of it was a justifiable use of force. Because that's where this whole thing is stemming from.
Right. The force option. It's okay.
All right.
All right. Perfect.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Hey.
Guys, just like yesterday, you were a sergeant.
What's that?
Seems just like yesterday you were a sergeant.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
You shot up through the ranks.
We grow up quick, is what they
Oh
say.
yeah, they grew up so fast. They gave you Miracle Grow.
I know.
All right.
What's up? What can I do for you?
So, of course, the Ledger case is being heard right now.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, you were the officer that was in charge of Buckingham, right?
Okay. I'm sorry. I kind of was in my head for a second. And
It's
you
okay.
said the ledger.
It's
the ledger case is
it's the
being
Ledger
heard?
case is being heard right now. You were the
Okay.
arresting and booking or arresting officer, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we will be calling you to the stand as a state witness.
Okay.
Okay. You just want to have a seat. We'll call you up momentarily.
We've
Your Honor, our
submitted
state
everything.
counsel is ready.
Yes.
Yeah, I was busy statement.
Wouldn't be lying if I said I'm stressing
State's
over
attorney,
that.
can you approach?
Yes, Your Honor.
The citizen's attorney approach as well. Okay, so it does occur to me that we've been at this for quite a few hours.
Yep, state has one final our witness, and then we'll be ready to rest.
You are incredibly quiet.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a unit.
Sorry, I was whispering.
They're gonna
State has one witness to call that is present, and then we'll be ready for closing.
Who's this final witness?
Lieutenant
gonna
Mike Hams.
be-
He was a sergeant during the time the event occurred.
Understood. Is it possible that the court could request you keep it brief?
Yes.
To the best of your ability while proving your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
That would be fantastic. We will advise the jury that we have
Are you able to
allocated
meet with,
30
EMT or something to get him a evaluation?
30
He was
remaining
intentionally running off the table and
minutes.
hitting his head against the wall.
It'll
hurt
be most
himself.
likely.
Said he was erasing
We are
thoughts.
hoping for less than that. Do both sides agree?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, agree.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'll
Alright, Mr. Ledger, we're getting ready to go.
Ooh, strong rolling chair.
All right. Your Honor, we can talk in your chambers or we can talk in your chambers.
This table tastes pretty nice.
Yeah, it's
What happened when we were away?
What is?
Sorry, the table tasted pretty nice.
Is one of the jury members being taken out handcuffs?
what did it taste like?
Unless he forgot to eat and passed out.
Hmm.
Yeah, I made sure to hit the food truck before I came into the court and stocked
yeah.
up because I was low on food myself.
I think you're right.
Like, oh, this is problematic.
So
No? What would ever make you think something? Next
I
question.
put some candy bars in this drawer here.
Oh, good.
I'm a jack of all trades. Wait, actually, no. Wait, I take that back. After what you just said, I take back that statement.
off the table. He then ran off the table and jumped headfirst into the wall again. Placed in handcuffs.
It just registered with me what you said.
So I asked for a
Hi.
50 evaluation on him. Had another
Hello.
unit given, so I don't.
Can you come with me for a minute?
Yo, what's up?
Oh no.
We grabbed the jury, you said?
Wrong key was trying to hit my voice proximity. Hit the screenshot instead. Whoops.
I don't have any water on me. I don't have any water in there. Give me one second. I can grab some for you. Yeah, they're having some issues getting it.
Oh.
Your Honor, I forgot to ask you. Did you want anything to be done
I have a water,
pursuant-wise to him
bottles for you guys.
for charges-wise, or no? Okay.
Just waiting for the case to start back up here.
Here you go, Button. Alright, whenever you guys are ready, same seats.
Court is back in session. Please be seated. I do believe state's attorney has one final witness to call.
Yes, Your Honor. State would like to call Lieutenant Mike Hams to the stand.
Lieutenant Mike Hams. Mr. Jones.
All right. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Good evening, Lieutenant Hams. For
Good
the record, could you state your name and your rank within the department?
Mike Hams, I'm a lieutenant.
And at the occurrence of the robbery call at San Andreas Autos on the 23rd or 24th, what was your rank at the time?
I was a corporal during that time.
Now, Lieutenant, what was your role in the call that took place at San Andreas Auto on that day?
So when I arrived on scene, individuals were already out of the vehicle at the time. I immediately began to render aid to individuals that I noted that were on the ground, and ensuring that the scene was secure. I did note that Mr. Ledger was on the ground, and that's who I proceeded to provide care to.
And during your time that you were providing care, was the scene still an active shooter scene?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
And during your time that you were rendering aid, were there officers that were injured in line of duty?
There was, yes, ma'am.
To your knowledge, how many officers were injured in line of duty at that time?
I couldn't give you an exact number, ma'am. I know that there was a couple officers that were injured on the scene.
So you stated that you were provided medical aid to the plaintiff, Mr. Rafe Ledger. What aid did you provide to him?
I initially wanted to get him in a stable location so that I was able to get him transported out of the area into a medical unit. So at the time, if I remember correctly, I was just looking for injuries, looking for anything that would be considered a life-threatening injury at the time, something, such as bleeding or something like that, that I would be able to stop. If I remember right, I did have to hold pressure in some places, but I don't remember any large quantities of blood coming out, and I was immediately able to get him secured and placed outside so he could receive medical attention.
Did you ever leave the aid of the plaintiff, Mr. Rafe Ledger, in the care of a medical professional?
No, ma'am. When I passed him off to medical, I stayed with that medical unit the entire time. The only time that Mr. Ledger was not in my sight is when he was being transported by medical in the back of an ambulance.
So according to the statement, you took him from inside of the active scene outside to medical. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Now, once he was transported, did you follow the ambulance to the hospital?
I did, yes, ma'am.
once he was treated at the hospital, were you the one assigned to take him to the jail?
I was, yes, ma'am.
During the time after he was treated by the hospital, did he make any statements during the time that you were handling him?
Yes, ma'am. He stated that he was the hostage. I attempted to ascertain some information from units on scene. Like I said, I was one of the units that arrived after all of the fighting had taken place, and I went ahead and contacted my supervisor at the time, who was Scene Command 5 Echo 1. David, I don't remember David's last name off the top of my head, and he stated that he was to be charged with the charges that he faces.
Did you book him into the jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you write his arrest report?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Approach. Mr. Nighthawk. Citizen's attorney.
There is a discrepancy here, Your Honor.
What's the discrepancy?
This is going to need to go to chambers.
Court will be adjourned for 2 minutes while we discuss the matter in chambers. All right, be sure to adjust your voice volumes. What do we got?
The lieutenant just lied on the stand.
How do you figure?
He did not write the arrest report. The commissioner, David Francisco, is the one that wrote the arrest report for Mr. Ray Fletcher.
Is he the one who published it?
The commissioner is the one that published the arrest record for Mr. Ray Fletcher in this matter.
I think that might be a clarification question. That
Would it need to be a
asked on the stand.
clarification? Okay. I didn't know how to proceed this. I think I was wondering if it was maybe I need to clarify this in a better light.
Yeah, I think a clarification question is going to be needed for that.
The lieutenant was the arresting officer, and he's the one that took him to jail and booked him, but the commissioner is the one that wrote the arrest report.
Because the commissioner told him that what charges go?
Yeah, I think a clarification question is to be needed.
Okay. Thank you for the guidance. I wanted to cross my T's and dot my I's before we proceed further into an even deeper rabbit hole than this case already is.
Of course.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Moxie, any discrepancies against this?
Just the one you pointed out. It is 3 separate reports, by the way, just so we all remember. It's 239, 241, 243.
Okay. Which one? Which one was Mr. Ledger's? Was it?
The one that directly charged him was.
Big Mike, you doing?
I'm good, boss. How about you?
Oh, doing all right. I just make sure. I saw you. I didn't come say hi yet, so.
Yeah. I'm living the dream, man.
Living the dream, testifying.
Yes, sir.
It was 243. 243 is the arrest report by the commissioner.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we'll go get this.
Do you want me to ask the follow-up questions?
Your
Honor.
I got the clarification.
Excuse me, Marshal. Oh, too many donuts.
Whew. This is a bullet dodger.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up to you at some point, but okay, as long as you know that.
Marshals, can you grab the jury, please?
Yes, sure. Jurors?
Thanks. Did we go down to an only? Did we go down to an only two-man jury? 3?
No, there's 3 up there. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
My
Sorry, Your Honor, I was
co-counsel was
asking.
asking a question.
Gotcha. State's attorney, you may begin questioning again. Please make sure that you are speaking at your loudest capacities.
Yes, Your Honor. Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am.
Clarification on my last question, which was, did you write the arrest report?
Ma'am, I may have misspoke. I may have not written it. I'm not 100% sure if I did or not. I mean, we write so many of them, I could be
You guys, can we
wrong in
put the
saying
phones
I
away?
did.
Thank you.
Okay, so you arrested him and booked him under the charges
We
that you were
object and
advised
said
on.
asked and answered.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And to clarify, it was possibly not you that wrote the arrest report, but a different officer.
That is quite possible, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Gotcha.
The state has no further questions, Your Honor.
Citizen's attorney, do you have any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, and I promise to make it brief. Lieutenant, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So, could you restate, disregard that. I will not have you restate. When you first encountered Mr. Rafe, he was in and out of consciousness, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
In your professional opinion, do you believe somebody who is going in and out of consciousness have just sustained a gunshot wound? Do you believe that they could be resisting arrest by simply not following verbal commands?
If we're referring to if they were in a state of unconsciousness, I would not expect for them to be able to resist commands.
Okay. You state these charges that were filed against my client were ordered from the commissioner, correct?
Correct.
On scene, do you recall who was the one who approached the vehicle that my client was in with the less than lethal shotgun?
I do not, sir. I was not on scene for that.
Thank you, sir. I think that is it. I have nothing further.
The state's attorney has any final redirect?
No final redirect, Your Honor.
Mr. Hamser could just step down.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Citizen's attorney, is anything further?
Nothing further. We rest.
State's attorney, anything further?
State rest, Your Honor.
By virtue of coin toss, state's attorney, you have first crack at closing arguments.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, esteemed jury, as you've heard today, throughout the events that took place at San Andreas Autos, there was an active shooter threat for a long period throughout this scene, even during the period in which law enforcement was still trying to clear the vehicle in which the plaintiff, Mr. Ray Fletcher, was in. As you heard from testimony from the witnesses of law enforcement, in a situation like this, where there's still an active shooter threat, and it was known that there were people in that vehicle that were suspected to be armed and dangerous, that a hands-on method wouldn't have been a safe method for them to use in that situation. To put their own lives at risk when there were already other officers that were injured in the line of duty because of this 911 call, because of this report of a robbery at San Andreas Autos. The plaintiff even stated in his testimony that these subjects did point guns at him. So, as whereas the law enforcement knew, there could have still been somebody that was armed and dangerous in that vehicle, ready to use that gun to threaten their lives. So when they were not following commands, law enforcement couldn't have known that the plaintiff was in and out of consciousness in a critical state. They had to use the tools that they had at their immediate disposal to secure one aspect of this very large scene, to make a safe area within this large scene while there was an active shooting taking place on this scene. It's up to you to look at the evidence that's laid out before you and understand that the use of force that the law enforcement officers of the San Andreas Highway Patrol was justified in this situation to secure a chaotic scene, to make a scene that was dangerous and life-threatening not only to officers, but the immediate public. I leave this case in your hands, and I hope that you also see that all the steps that our law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line daily, dealing with situations just like this one, took the steps that they were trained on to take in a situation of this magnitude to ensure not the safety of a small population, but to the safety of the public as a whole. Thank you.
The citizen's attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor. People of the jury, we've spent the past few hours walking through the events of that terrible day, and I want to thank you for giving this case your full attention. Now it's time to step back, look at the full picture, and ask one simple question. Who was Rafe Ledger in that moment? Was he a criminal? Was he someone trying to defy law enforcement? Or was he a victim? A person who'd just been through a traumatic, life-threatening ordeal? A person who was shot, bleeding, and in shock? Let's be clear about what the evidence shown. Rafe Ledger was taken hostage. He was held against his will. He was shot. He was not armed. He was not fighting. But he was shot. And when law enforcement approached the vehicle, instead of being treated as a victim, Mr. Ledger was shot again at point-blank range with a beanbag shotgun. He was handcuffed again, treated like a threat, accused of resisting. But what does resisting arrest mean in a moment like that? Does it mean flinching when you're in pain? Does it mean slow to respond when you're losing blood and your body's going into shock? Does it mean not immediately complying when your brain is still trying to figure out if you're even safe? You heard from some troopers this evening. You heard from some medics this evening. Even they admitted the scene was chaotic. Commands were shouted. Guns were drawn. But nobody stopped to assess the situation. Nobody asked, Ledger had just been through. It's not resistance. It's trauma. That's survival. The situation in this case should have never been brought into a courtroom. But now that it has, it's up to you to correct it, to be the voice of reason, to be the voice of justice. Don't let fear or confusion be mistaken for guilt. Don't let a victim walk away from this not only wounded, but wrongfully convicted. You have the power to make this right, and the only fair, the only just, the only human verdict is not guilty. Be clear. What happened to Rafe Ledger was more than a mistake. It was a betrayal of public trust. A person who should have been met with compassion and medical care was instead met with suspicion, handcuffs, pain. Being a hostage is terrifying. Being shot while in that position is unimaginable. And yet, while bleeding out, Rafe Ledger was treated as a criminal. Not because of anything he did, but because of how the troopers chose to view him. Not as a victim, but as a threat. This lawsuit isn't just about compensation. It's about accountability. It's about telling the system and every trooper who wears a badge that this kind of treatment has consequences. That if you abuse your power, if you ignore someone's basic humanity, you will be held accountable. Punitive damages are not just about what happened to Rafe Ledger. They're about protecting the next person, the next hostage, the next victim. So we ask you to send a message. This cannot happen again. This will not be swept under the rug. And the only way to say that loud and clear enough is to award punitive damages. Thank you.
To the members of the jury, you are to be sent back to the antechamber. It's where you will deliberate and cast your votes. Because once you are done, is let the marshal know, and they will come and find us, and then we will render verdict. Mr. Kane, you alive?
Mr. Kane. Sir? Your Honor, I think he is. I think he's just having a moment.
Understood.
Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane.
We lost a good one.
I can take a spot as a jury member. I'm joking.
Yeah. I can take a spot at plaintiff.
Mr. Kane? Sergeant Kane?
Bueller.
Yes, sorry. Sorry? Possibly. If Mr. Kane fails to return to his body, unfortunately, we may have to rule without him.
Right this way, Mr. Kane.
Mr. Kane, it's voting time.
Trip me up with that.
Alright. Yeah, Mr. Kane, if you missed out on the, you guys are deliberating, let us know when you guys are ready to reach the verdict, okay? After you cast your verdict. You want a question for the judge?
Yeah, I know. And the problem
Oh.
is like we didn't get much warning that all this.
Oh.
We didn't have time to prepare. I just like on the fly, I don't remember everything.
1 second, I'll verify.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
the jury has a question for you. When they vote their verdict, who are they voting as guilty and not guilty?
If they vote guilty,
Yeah, but he's gonna have about 4.5 fucking federal troopers in that case too. So.
Objection. Bullshit.
I mean, even if though that's one of the rules.
If you vote guilty, you're voting in
Sustained.
Like if you run from the police, you run the risk
Oh
of
my
getting
God.
injured in that process of running from the police.
that will be already predetermined, I believe.
Oh, now we're just
You guys
waiting.
are just doing the.
Now we're just waiting for the jury to return.
Well, I like once again play stupid games, you win stupid fucking prizes. So. Well, I mean, and this is the thing. This is my thing with this case too. Like, they put.
Oh, well, Moxie, what a wild ride this has been.
Oh yeah.
You're just pretty much sending.
It's
I'm
it's
glad
kind
to
of a shame for both sides was that Mr. Commissioner is nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
Did he say that he wasn't gonna be here, or did he just decide not to show up and not tell anybody?
I mean, there was confusion on.
The civilian population that hey, if the police.
We had a lot of confusion coming into today.
Oh, okay.
Well, at least the end of the tunnel is in sight for this case. Yeah.
Yeah, just quite nervous.
Oh yes.
And I want to say, regardless of outcome, you put up a hell of a fight.
Why, thank you, Moxie. You did the
Yeah,
same.
no hard feelings either, because it's not you that I'm annoyed at. It's the
Oh no, I totally understand.
the highway.
I
patrol.
totally understand, Mr. Rafe.
Yeah, it's no hard feelings when it comes to attorneys either. Like we're both just doing our
Hey,
jobs.
brother.
Yep.
I'm never gonna
Miss-
hate Miss Emma.
You want
No,
taking off your mask? For
done
me?
a pretty. Both of
Yeah,
you,
but
but
you
well,
can't
all
mask
three of
over.
you have done pretty good
Did you
job.
see the sign out front on the doors?
Thank you, thank you.
Carter, on the other hand,
Hey now.
you're an all-star.
I think.
You're just mad that I didn't
Get your
join the
game on.
defense.
Yes, I am.
Well, Well, he saw that I looked all lonely over there.
Hey, at least
He wanted to give the
Over
poor
here.
damsel some company.
Not so much damsel, but
Yeah, do you think this is a Disney tale?
You butt over.
I'll have you know, this is not a fairy tale. My client's life is
Vlad
in
is
danger.
inside right now, so.
danger.
Danger, danger.
Danger.
If you face
We have a few cases coming
Sounds
up.
like you're gonna have a new case.
Oh God, don't tell me that.
Well, technically we won't. Wouldn't it be conflict because we were here during the incident? We witnessed it.
Oh, true.
Could
Yeah,
do
it would be conflict of interest for all.
I got
We could do
Mr.
a-
Bradley as my lawyer.
committed a crime while in detention at the courts.
He's another tough one.
Someone finally got it.
One coming up with Harvey
Wait, how did-
Hendricks.
What about a
You just
unicorn?
farted.
Who just shut themselves.
Yeah, I was about to say, somebody definitely just followed through.
It sounded like they need medical attention.
They need more than medical
Code
attention. They
brown.
need a fucking.
Hey, you got the walker out in your car. Maybe they need it.
They need a bath at this point.
Maybe one of those.
Oh, it's a good- yeah,
cushions
actually, I
to
don't
go
mind.
under their
Commissioner on the phone.
bum.
Nope, wait, what?
They need one of those cushions to go under their bum.
I think I just heard Rose say something about Commissioner on the phone.
Sorry,
If
what'd you say,
he's
Rose? Couldn't
here-
hear you from over here.
Said you're beautiful.
What about the commissioner?
Stop looking in the mirror.
Well, yeah. What about the commissioner?
Anyways,
Can I hear
Right, but
anything?
we might have just. Oh, okay.
Moxie, enjoy defending the commissioner.
No.
We'll
Based
see.
off of everything that I have helped Emma uncover, if he wishes to have defense, he's gonna have to seek other counsel. I will be.
Where's he at?
Moxie is
gladly
already
recusing
grey. The
myself.
last thing he needs is to lose the hair.
Moxie
Can
turns
you
into
phone him
Mr.
any
Clean.
louder?
Really loud.
I'll be back. I gotta go fly.
It was purposefully intended.
Yeah, we can tell.
Also, fuck you, Sam.
We only have
Speaking-
2 troopers dwindling in the courtroom now.
It sounds like he just
Sorry.
wants another court case.
What do you mean by that?
Sam versus Fletch.
Oh,
It's all the air we're breathing in and out.
The part that
Real
kind of sucks,
I like to relieve.
we weren't able to fill in that hole with who fired the beanbag. The only troopers that came weren't there at that time.
Yeah,
Tried that,
the commissioner wasn't available apparently today.
And it's always good that you're trying a new thing.
Not available. Interesting.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, Sam, is the commissioner on duty?
I wouldn't know.
Heard he took a trip to Mexico.
A trip to Mexico.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Not that I know
Oh.
the commissioner. Don't.
There'll probably be a trip to the Bolingbroke Penitentiary later down the line.
Okay,
Well,
I'd
probably
like to.
will probably be a federal prison.
Yeah, the marshal. Let the marshals deal with him.
Yep. God bless you for having to.
Your Honor, they would like to speak with you.
goodness.
They would like to speak with you, Your Honor. They have questions I could ask you them, but I don't really want to.
The marshal's tired of being the in-between man.
He's tired of being the runner.
Who's the guy in the suit over there?
Yeah, Your Honor. So we're just.
Which one?
wondering,
There's
we
a couple
came to a
suits.
verdict But if
Marshall, can you
if we
tell
came to a verdict, do we
your
put him off?
the jury that we can hear them? Law has a hole in it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So it's pretty muffled. Yeah, we can hear him out here.
Real fast, Your Honor.
We came to it. All I heard is we came to a. We came to a verdict.
You go with there. You tell
And the
Lockertan to be
prosecution
quiet.
wins.
Which prosecution, though? Because technically, I'm prosecution and defense. But this case, this is a twofer.
I mean,
It's an
Blake, you doing
accurate
okay? You got a drink on you or anything, or you need one, or you good?
I mean,
I'm doing all right.
technically
Okay,
yes,
just making
technically no.
Just making sure.
I need food.
Nobody cares.
Damn.
Except for you, Sam. We care about you.
Damn, I need some water. Hey.
Is that Frank? Oh.
What? There you
Thanks,
go.
pal.
No problem, brother.
You're doing great things for San Andreas, Frank.
What?
Oh, it is Frank.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Sam.
Hello, Sam.
Hey, Frank.
How's it going?
I like
Didn't
those
realize
pants.
It was you.
Thank you. They're actually pretty snug.
Nice
Yeah,
hat,
we
Frank.
can tell.
Thank you.
Nice Frank hat.
Thank you.
Whoa. Was this a locker room?
Hey, you with the hair. You dropped your face.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Yeah,
I
you
don't
punched
know,
that
there's a
ghost.
fly.
You
punched that
you
air.
punched that
Yes.
air.
More law enforcement trying to hurt me when I did nothing wrong is crazy.
Where's Weasel News for all of this?
Uh-oh. I
We're
feel
just
another
lucky
lawsuit
there's
coming.
no gas cans in here.
Oh, Lord. She did not. She did not.
Correct.
That's okay. She was stupid enough to kick one as well.
You told me it didn't explode anymore.
my-
Hey, look, that's your problem, not mine.
I mean, my manager did tell me that it
Ugh,
didn't
my
explode.
eyes are
Maybe I
getting
should
all
see
watery
what's
and
the
itchy. Frank.
You accepted responsibility.
Frank.
Especially with Ledge involved.
Yes.
I know you're fighting demons, but try not to do it in
Does
the
that mean I
courtroom.
can? Does that mean I can counter sue for? Because I got injured during it.
I don't
From
know,
your
you wanna find
negligence.
out?
Not really. Have a good rest of your day.
Me
miss.
either. Yeah.
I was gonna say the judge is here. We can have a quick bench trial.
No, I'm good.
After this, I don't want to hear the word trial for about a week.
Man, this trial's been great.
So Moxie, you're gonna be at my trial, right?
Hey, Tyler, I sure hope it's quiet for you your next shift.
Ooh.
That's kind of
Tyler didn't even say anything.
Damn, Moxie. That
I mean,
was a
we're
low
all just
blow.
tossing around jabs, so.
Why am I being picked on? What did I
We're
do?
all tossing jabs.
I did nothing. Just let me sit in the corner in peace.
Moxie, don't make me go up to office 4.
Hey, Mox, you know you said that right as soon as you fucking did. The EMS phone.
Did it?
fucking
Did
rang. It literally did. I can't even make that up. So fuck you.
It's all right, Moxie. I know the
a lot
secrets
of
that you have
hostility in here.
in office 4.
Yes, you are. You made a dumb
You
mistake.
stay out of office 4.
I'll go get him. I'll give
Shut
him
up,
to
Sam.
Rose.
You knew what to do. You knew to.
He can go for a ride along with Rose.
Who's going on right along?
I want to go on a ride along with the commissioner and see how police work's meant to be done.
Wait until the new
if I'm
commissioner's
not law
elected.
enforcement, I can't be charged with corruption.
Wait until the new commissioner's elected.
Oh, good point.
What's that I hear? Carter wants to be commissioner?
No.
Sorry, Your Honor. Are we still on the record?
God help every person.
Hey
Okay,
now.
good. I was making sure.
I'm
At least
joking.
we wouldn't. At least there wouldn't be 17 million court cases if I was in commissioner seat.
I'm honestly scared to ask how many are pending besides mine.
Yes.
Well, I can tell you that I have 2 brand new ones.
What'd you say, Sam?
You got 2 new ones? I got 2 new ones. Yay.
Hey.
So, technically, mine's 4, but there's 2 that aren't on docket yet.
Oh, if we're counting on docket ones, I have 3.
Totally fine.
One's more of a traffic case.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at 2 where I won't have to be a defense. I'll actually get to be a prosecution.
Hell yeah. Get that
No.
murder.
Jay was asking me if I want to.
I don't want
do
you working as hard, Sam.
prosecution
You need
on
a day off.
case. Can you teach me a little bit about prosecution?
Yes.
Sure.
Who's answering that? 1, 2, 3. Not it.
Hold up.
My phone's on airplane mode, so I'm not getting it.
Mine what? But
Mine should be.
halfway through court, it just started ringing.
Wait, who? Ask. I'm joking. I'm joking. It was a joke. It was a joke. It's a joke.
Can we kick these rowdy people out of the jury box or the gallery, please?
Oh, come on. 4-eyed to another 4-eyed. Come on. That's wild.
Yeah, why are you discriminating on our people?
On the people laughing in the box?
I'm not laughing at you, they're laughing with you.
Uh-huh.
For me, you are. Looks like you're going schizophrenic.
I think after this, though, I'm definitely going to put my mouth around a Moxie money shot.
Not a pickle burger.
Twitching.
I gotta go full out gold.
Oh my.
4-carat gold on my burger.
Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go.
I mean,
Demon
I have one in my office if you want.
I was about to make a statement of how do you
Never
not get
take it again.
metal poisoning, but then I was like, oh wait, they make edible gold.
Yeah, edible gold. Carter, how long has that been in there? Do I want to know?
It's yesterday.
Schizo meds.
It's still semi-fresh. Was it 30-day rule? I think is what they say.
Yeah.
No, don't.
Senor Marshall.
Uh-oh. I'm
I
scared.
know.
Yes.
Why do I have a key in my
Have
pocket?
you guys all put in your verdict?
He's bald under that hat.
No.
Your Honor.
You forgot to give me my Flintstone gummies in my lunch.
The jury's ready. They put in their verdicts. You want me to bring them out, or are you gonna call it back to set?
You can go ahead and bring them out. We'll call them back in session right now.
All right, here we go.
Let's go.
All right, everybody, please go ahead and find your seats. Court will be back in session.
Go back to what? Yep, go back to your seats.
All right, here we go. All right, the moment of truth.
Here we go.
Mr. Tan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, sir.
What is the jury's verdict?
We the jury find the Sir, we do find the state guilty in this case.
Understood. Just to confirm, is that you are finding in favor of Mr. Ledger?
Yes, Your Honor.
Understood. Is there anything further that's on your notepad there?
Yes, Your Honor. We the jury also to believe, in terms of compensation towards Mr. Ledger, that he be awarded $240,000 of expenses due to him not being able to attend his duties at his workplace. Following that, additional costs covering his medical expenses, as well as fees with his lawyers.
Yeah. Damn.
Additionally, for punitive damage, we're suggesting a $1.25 million to be issued.
The court hears and understands.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, just a moment.
Whew. Commissioner's not gonna be happy.
Okay, we are just reviewing some paperwork here at the bench, making sure everything is in order. So the court will be finding. So the court will be finding in favor of Mr. Ledger. We will be following the jury's recommendations and awarding the plaintiff to $240,000 in compensation damages. However, the court will be awarding a third of the punitive damages, totaling at $500,000, and after court fees and lawyer expenses, it will be a mass award of $700,000. Court rests. Court's adjourned.
Thank you again, Your Honor.
Hell of a fight, Moxie.
Mr. Ledger.
Holy shit. Thank you, Your Honor.
Hey, lad, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Forgot what?
We forgot to mention his record should be expunged. We talked about it. We just forgot to mention it.
I'll be outside in a minute.
I heard them. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right.
Well.
Jersey, if you guys are gonna come with me, we'll let you out the back way. There's no recurse.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
This will be fun to tell the commissioner.
Yeah, who's gonna make that call?
Not it.
Not it.
You know it's gonna be me.
I'll come with you.
Mr. Jones, can you go find Mr. Ledger and Mr. Moxie just real quick?
Yep.
Your call has been.
Oh, I think he went to bed. Or he's on a phone call.
Your call.
I think go get change your clothes first, you know. Cover your face with a motorcycle helmet or something.
Well,
I'm talking.
one down. We need to go.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 on record.
Yeah.
That's good. I'll see you later. Yeah.
Hey, have Frank do something productive.
Probably not the last. This is probably the first mini that's to come.
Against HP, yeah.
Do you know where Mr. Ledger and
I tried to give Moxie a call. I think he went to bed.
Check upstairs. That's where his office is.
Your.
You were saying, man, you put up a good fight today.
Thank you.
It was a tough case.
Yeah, it was. It was a very tough case.
I mean, there wasn't much you were going to be able to do there. I think you need a magic wand.
Yeah.
To change the outcome of that.
Yeah, that's
We're good on
true.
you for trying.
Hey, Ledge.
Oh, look. You're very wiggly, Mr. Marshall.
The judge wants you
Marshall.
back in the court for something. You and Moxie. Yeah.
Okay.
Marshall.
Marshall, I think she wants.
Frank. Okay. Need a Marshall. Any Marshall. Oh well.
Yeah, the other one went back in there.
Oh, okay. I'll give this to him then. Or not.
Just lock the door.
Yeah, my keys don't work for some reason.
Thank you for
Appreciate
your
it,
testimony.
Moxie.
Let me try mine.
Yep.
Mr. Ledger,
Yes, Your Honor.
did you receive compensation?
No, not yet, sir. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Hold on.
I was about to say, Mr. Ledger, you're gonna give me a heart attack.
My client may or may not be trying to get paid twice. He's hungry. He gotta eat.
I mean, if you want to pay me twice, go for it. Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
I got paid. I didn't see it. Didn't see it go in there. It's 700 of 4,000 is what I'm currently at the minute.
Okay. So. Okay, so. Due to the system being a little wonky, would you like to pay your court fees now or later?
We can pay them now.
All right. So the
Or
easiest
well,
way.
I'll leave. Yeah, if you want to do it now. How much is court fees?
Go ahead and accept that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you just went. Hold on.
What a case.
Mr. Moxley.
Sir.
Well, we're both here together. Do you want to see if your client, Mr. Murphy, is available?
Yes. After everything concludes here, yes.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. How much am I sending?
It'll be 50,000.
Was that money coming out of the SAHP fund?
It was.
I'll make sure that gets taken out properly, you know?
We will...
You shouldn't have to worry about it. If he already got it,
Well,
it's good.
it's under a name, it's not under a business, so I'm afraid that it might be still in there.
Okay,
I'm
so I
afraid
can
that
only send it in 10K increments because
that is fine.
is that okay? Okay.
It would have taken it directly out of the commissioner's bank account.
Yeah, he doesn't
So-
have that money on him.
Well, considering that he just got it, he definitely did.
No.
I mean, you are
It-
more than welcome to check.
It might have put his bank account into the negative.
That would be unfortunate for him.
That'd be
Very unfortunate. He'll be flying home from Mexico very quick.
I was going to say, I'm probably going to get a nasty phone call real fast.
Yeah.
Mr. Ledger, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming down to the court today.
Yeah, no problem.
Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, and I appreciate all your time.
Of course, last note, we will get the charges expunged as soon as we can. We have to submit requests to the central processing team. That takes
Gotcha.
a day or so.
Perfect.
All right. You all have a fantastic day.
You too.
As well.
Thank you.
All right.
Marsha, I'm going to give you this. I ended up with a handcuff key when I got searched coming in for some reason.
My bank account a little bit. You mind if I go change this into a different account?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll be back.
But sadly,
Hey.
Carter, give me just a couple seconds to deal with Mr. Jacobson here.
Yep.
I told him when we were in courts that I would handle a situation with him.
Okay.
Did you want to try to call Mr. Murphy, see if he's around?
Yeah, I will make a phone call.
All right, perfect. Right this way.
Hey, Emma.
Hi, Harold.
Hey, Bradley.
Hey, so I got a client down here at highway headquarters. He's being charged with contempt of court and resisting a peace officer. I guess he did something and he was removed from the court or trial, I guess.
Yes.
Did the judge actually issue a contempt to him or to a specific individual, or did he just give a blanket?
He issued contempt to him.
Like, with like his name directly?
When officers were trying to get him and escort him out and deal with him, the judge issued him specifically a contempt of court. Didn't use his name, but informed the marshals that the subject that they were trying to remove is to be charged with contempt.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yes.
And what was the final ruling on the sentencing to that crime?
Plaintiff won.
Yeah, but
he was
what
was-
class? A, B, C?
Oh, or
just
for
a
the,
fine
for the
Right.
contempt. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
He interrupted a question. He interrupted the questioning of a witness on the stand.
Right, I understand that, but like for the contempt, you know, the
yeah,
crime is a maximum of a class A misdemeanor, right? So
I'm not
if it's just
sure.
an
I'm
if
not
it's just if the judge just issued an infraction and a fine, right? Then the 410 isn't going to apply because you're just talking about a fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was going to issue. He just instructed the marshals to charge him with contempt.
Right, I understand that. Is the judge still there that you can ask him?
He is, but he's in chambers, and my keys no longer work.
Okay.
So I think that's gonna you'll have to run that through him to figure out that process out.
Got it. Lovely. I always like challenging a judge. It's never. It's always a fun part.
Well, it wouldn't be really challenging. It's more clarification of what exactly the client is going to be.
Yeah, but I have to challenge it, right? Because if he
Yeah.
didn't specify my client's name specifically and reprimanded him in the middle of court proceedings and just made a blanket, you're in contempt. From what he told me, there was like 5 people up and running around trying to deal with unknown, like people were just pointing at him randomly. So I mean,
Well,
I have to challenge it at some level.
him, 3 marshals, and 2 troopers that were trying to. It was 3
Right.
marshals and 2 troopers dealing with him.
But Emma,
yeah.
that's the problem though. It's like
I'll let.
So
he
could have been saying contempt of court. He could saying that the troopers are in contempt of court.
Yep.
So you see my problem.
Yeah, the judge is right here, so I'll let him know that
okay.
you need to speak with him.
The judge, yeah.
Does he want to call me? Does he have my number?
Absolutely. Where do you want me?
Over here.
I think. If not, I can give it to him.
Okay, yeah, if you could, I just need clarification because otherwise this guy's gonna. As I said, if there's no contempt, then 410 can't apply.
Okay, I'll let him know.
So, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Why were you scrunching the floor with your?
Okay, so Bradley's been
just-
hired on as
when I
the
see Jay, I get a bit
defense attorney for the gentleman that
Oh.
was held in contempt. And they're looking
Okay.
for clarification on what level of contempt of court the judge is going to issue to that gentleman.
As far as I'm concerned, it's going to be as far as the full extent of the court.
Okay.
The judge and the honorable judge can comment on that, but
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned, I believe it's the full charge of the contempt in court.
Okay. Yeah, Bradley is down there with the subject, and he asked me to call him to try to get clarification on what the level of contempt of court it was, and I told him I'm not sure. Yes, Moxie.
Hey, Emma, could you join us back here in office 3 if you have a second?
Yeah, give me a moment.
Okay.
All right, bye. Okay. Yeah. If
Okay.
you could
And
let.
then Murphy versus HP, if you guys have notes or anything you guys are wanting to bring on, I am going to be here.
We are, me and Moxie are waiting to speak to Mr. Murphy. I'm just waiting for him to finish his client meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say,
that's
I
fine.
don't have that case.
I have Murphy versus San Andreas.
Yeah, I have.
And the court recorder for it.
I have Hoyt versus SHP and a traffic.
Okay.
And then I just have.
I also have Franks versus SHP.
I have 2 subjects that I'm looking to bring charges against, and I just need clarification and guidance on how to bring the charges up.
So that's the plan. So right now we're starting to let clerks review them and then bring them to Jay or
Talk to Harold. So I can
And
talk
then
to
to
Harold
let the
first, while
judge
we wait
know
for
that
him.
my keys don't work anymore.
Right there. Harold.
I am not Harold, but
Sorry, what happens?
That's Harold.
I can't unlock any of the doors in the courthouse.
Are you on duty?
I am on duty.
Did you go to the donuts and use your muscle? By chance?
What do you mean,
Try
go to donuts?
Try and do this before you do that. Go and select off the duty and then reassign yourself.
Oh,
again.
okay. Well, I can't get the doors locked. If someone could let me in.
Well?
Okay, let me try.
Yep.
Nope, can't unlock doors.
We're gonna have to figure that one out.
Key still broke.
Yep, keys are still. I get a promotion and I can't unlock doors.
That sucks.
Hey, I'll say again, at least you got a promotion.
At least you got a promotion.
Wow.
Oh,
Wait,
there you
why
go.
did you get a promotion too?
Senior associate attorney.
Very nice. Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. With how much white hair that this case gave me, it's not surprising. I feel like I'm looking more and more like Grandmother Rose every day.
Yes, you are. Man, you just made a man very rich today.
Did I make
Proud of
that?
yourself.
No, what he did today is he got justice against him. That is
Exactly.
That's
Exactly. Vlad has it right.
Well, Vlad's smarter than me.
Money comes and goes.
Okay.
That's why I made it clear in my
Where are you
closing
wanting
statement.
to talk about this? In the offices upstairs or
I
downstairs?
even made it clear when questioning him.
For what the charges I
You
need
guys
to
ready
bring?
for a ticket?
As far as for Murphy versus.
Oh, that's not me. I'm not on that on the Murphy case.
John.
My
My
brain
bad.
is shutting down. Vlad, you're a smart guy. Can you explain punitive damage?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
I believe that is that's gonna
Hey,
be
you have a-
Moxie
you have a
and
calculator
Best way to put it.
for things of that nature. Doesn't
uh,
mean that he's
Carter.
going to go blow millions of dollars.
Gotcha.
But the
Gotcha.
price
Gotcha.
is right. The state needs to
Excuse
pay
me,
for
Mr.
what
Carter.
they did. They
Yes.
also need to set the precedence for other cases, which is why this
Okay.
was incredibly important as well. Hopefully
Yes.
now the state knows who's shaping up. I hope so. All we want is law enforcement to do their job correctly.
I hope so.
All right, gang. Well, that was the first court case in the DoJLife server. Thanks for hanging out. I got some other things I need to do, some bookkeeping stuff to finish out this case. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a fun one that took a while, but man, what a case. I think that's where we're going to end the stream for tonight. So thanks for hanging out with us, and keep on putting in that hard work, because one day it'll pay off. Till next time, keep on rising. Take care, everyone.
When